Mm. I asked her to come through, and now she's coming through. Sekhmet, it's the connection to the Lyrans and to Sekhmet.
Is Sekhmet with us now?
Yeah.
Would she like to speak with us today?
Oh, her energy is huge. Oh
It is. It's a beautiful energy.
my God. Oh. I feel like I'm gonna explode.
It's okay. Take a breath. Know that you will not feel any discomfort physically as we visit.
Oh.
Sekhmet. Her energy is quite powerful. I agree. I feel it too.
Oh God.
So
Oh.
I would like to ask Sekhmet a question. I would like to ask Sekhmet, why did she come through to speak to us today?
You are all supported by the energy of the lion.
Yes.
You stand up against things. You have to take out your claws and roar to be heard. And that energy is deep in your cellular and spiritual memory. You know me. You were with me from Egypt, but I also came in many other civilizations that you may not have known my name.
Please share more with us about that. Tell us more about you.
As Mother Mary and Kuan Yin represent the soft feminine, I represent the strong feminine that is so needed that you all embody. I come through today to have you feel and remember the strength that is divine feminine. There is a soft side, but there is a strong side. And your planet needs the claws out, mighty roar of the feminine.
We do indeed. Tell me more about that concept, about us having our claws out as the strong feminine. Share more with us about what that means.
Those of you who have given birth, you understand the mother bear principle, that you would kill and maim for your children if required. Yes,
Of course. Of course.
that's what I'm referring to. That's what I bring forth.
How do we apply that feminine warrior energy to the circumstances facing us on earth now? How would we use that energy?
Stand tall, be loud, don't back down. Just as the lion was walking through that chaff, shifting its tail, watching to see what would occur. That is what you are doing now. You watch and you wait. This is not an energy of revenge. This is an energy of cause and effect.
Thank you. I identify with this energy very much.
It is not anger. It is not violent. It is strength in its purest form. Women have been weakened all throughout history to remove this aspect of their divinity. And now men are being reduced to nothing and having their potent masculine sexual energies taken from them, weakening both genders. That is leading to the collapse of your civilization.
How does this, we know that there's a rise in divine feminine energy now. Do you see that the men, that their feminine, divine feminine energy or aspect is becoming more prevalent now, where there'll be more compassion and understanding from them? More integration and balance?
There is that, and that is most needed. But the fear paradigm on your planet has weakened both genders to the point where they have become submissive, like a cat that rolls over and exposes its belly. I dare find a lion that would roll over and expose its belly to anyone.
So, this comparison that you made, those who are rolling over, do they represent the segment of society that is sleeping and not paying attention to the truth?
We cannot put everyone in a basket because individual choice is individual choice. But if you were to generalize the behaviors that are seen on your planet at this time, we would say that it's far easier to roll over and submit than to take the lashings that would come in the defiance. It is a weakening of the human psyche that has allowed that. The energies of your true divinity and physical strength, your animal nature, has been beaten out of you over eons. That is what we're referring to. That's the energy that we're bringing forth today.
And how do we use this energy in a practical sense? How do we put it into practice?
By combining your physical strength that is found in the physical body and the cells in which you exist in with the energies that I bring forth from the spirit realm, from the etheric realm, from the elemental realm, the connection to your animal instinct. We showed this life not only as an introduction to my energy as the lion, as a request that was made by Laura, but we showed you what it looked like to be weak and small and to be fearful and to be concerned only with survival, and yet still make a choice. Still make a choice from a place of compassion and awareness and recognition of something that is more powerful, and to take responsibility for that choice. You all are standing in that grass, watching them come for you, and you're standing your ground. And I am so proud that you've embodied that essence of who you are. We stand to support you if that is your choice. If you choose another path, that is also your choice, and we support that choice. But we're speaking to those of you who feel as though you are being hunted, because you are.
But many of us don't feel fear about that.
No, because you've overcome it. But in the beginning, you did feel fear. In the beginning, you worried and questioned, what if this happens? And 2 years ago, you all predicted what would happen. You were called crazy, but you had the insight, you had the foresight, and you had the predictive nature of your souls, and you saw it. And if that wasn't evidence enough of your psychic abilities, we don't know what else we could provide you.
Thank you. That is the clarification at this point in the session that we needed. So our intuitive abilities are very important, and we must take the visions and things that we get as the truth and trust them. What else can you share with us about trusting that inner guidance, about standing strong in our own truth?
When you look at how animals live and relate and react to their environment, it is only their instincts that cause them to continue to live, or the lack of instinct that allows them to perish. It is that simple, and it's that clear.
Mm-hmm.
When your senses are deadened or distracted, you were easily pounced upon. When your ears are turned in all directions, when your eyes are focused, when your senses are heightened, and you listen and you watch and you feel, there's nothing that can get by you. You can change trajectory in an instant based on the input you receive. But those that are not paying attention because they're distracted by shiny things will easily perish and then play victim that, oh, why did this happen to me? You weren't paying attention, Laura. You were not paying attention.
Share more about this message to Laura, as you just addressed her directly about that. What is it she was not paying attention to? What did she miss? Share more about that observation.
She was not paying attention to the physical signs within her body that were telling her there was a problem. And when this virus could take a foothold in a system that was already having problems, was having deficiencies, it was easy for it to take the system down. Her experience is the perfect example of not only the virus's ability to take out a physical being, but it's also the metaphor for what's occurring on your planet. When you're not paying attention, when you're in denial, it's easy to take you out.
So I would imagine that this message could also be applied to using discernment as we receive messages, possibly from guides or other sources. Is this correct?
We would say that as you open yourself to the energies that are around you and available to you, that you pay attention to how your physical body reacts.
Mm-hmm.
Just like an animal may have hair stand up when it senses a predator, just like the ground may rumble when something's moving by. Pay attention to how your physical body responds. Laura had many episodes today where as the energies came in, they were all different, and that is true every single session.
Yes.
But the physical sensation is the opportunity to use your discernment to question what this energy is. Is it appropriate for me at this time?
Mm-hmm.
Is it of the highest and best frequency of source? And can you handle it at this time? My energy was huge for her physical body. It was difficult to enter her to the point that I could to be able to speak to you today. She felt as though she couldn't contain the tiniest aspect that I'm sharing with her. And when I say it's small, it is minuscule, yet she felt like she was going to split open. So pay attention to not only the mental images you receive, but how your body reacts, because your body is the most neutral and, we would say, least invested from an ego perspective, and will give you the honest and most transparent answer.
In these times that we are living in right now, there is a great deal of artificial intelligence being spread, many things attaching to us, many things that want to lead us in the wrong direction or keep us down. And sometimes those things, they either can't be seen or might appear to be wrapped in a pretty package. I believe we experienced that in the session today. Can you share some advice about using this discernment and identifying, for Laura, because I identified it physically, how best to know that the information you're getting is correct and that it's coming from not a prettily wrapped, not so benevolent source, but something of pure light and love?
Each person has their own conscious and unconscious desires when they attempt to connect to energies that are outside of themselves or claim to be higher aspects of themselves.
Yes.
So it is difficult to identify from a broad perspective how a person can recognize or not, because some people just don't want to. Some people enjoy the drama. So we would say to the two of you, because you're intimately linked and soul connected, that for the two of you, the information that resonates the most with what you already understand is the most true. When you're given information that contradicts what you feel in your soul. Now, when we say contradicts, goes completely against, if it's a perspective that you hadn't considered before, but you can see as connected to your understanding, we would not call that a contradiction. We would call that a further explanation or a broadening of understanding. But when information comes through that is fear-based, is timeline definitive, it is never true, because no one can predict anything, because there are too many potentials that are still yet to develop. And all of you have a different timeline track. You may be
Absolutely.
connected in this life at this moment, and what comes through may be relevant for you at this time as you move to that next day, that next experience, that next understanding. But tomorrow, you may have jumped to a different timeline, paradigm, dimension, where that information is either irrelevant to you at that point or has broadened.
What, so the advice that you could give to people, whether it is in a session like this one, or whether they're reading a post online or hearing someone speak about something, it's the discernment about the signs. We know there are physical signs. So you would say to identify something that might be put forward by a not so positive source, to create confusion or to sideline the people who are doing the work of the light. How can people who are out there that may not be so in tune to their senses identify that information versus what is actually true?
That's a wonderful question, and Laura's had that experience lately. So
Yes,
we'll give it to you from her
Jesus did.
perspective. There are people that she followed, and we use that term from the social media sense, not that you give up your power and listen to what they say and you follow them like they're gurus. We say follow them where their information pops up in your online feeds. We want to be very clear about that, because that's why that word is used in social media, so that you are following, not leading. You're leaders. All of you are leaders. I come forth to bring that energy back to you. You're leaders, not followers. You lead the way. You are lions leading the way. So, back to your question. There are
Mhm.
people that she listened to their information and resonated with, and then something shifted. Something irritated her about this individual. Something they said or did um, just kind of got under her craw, where it was a question of, well, that made me feel strange. I'm no longer resonant with that information. And now she's repelled by their information. It wasn't that she made a mental decision to accept what they said or not. She had a visceral reaction. And when that information pops up, it doesn't even call to her. So to answer your question, we would say pay attention when you have a visceral reaction. And this goes right back to the body. The body is the most neutral antennae truth.
Yes.
So don't listen to what the mind has to say, because if you did, you would continue to listen because, well, I liked them yesterday. So what's wrong with me that I don't like them today? Maybe, and this is the way in which they ensnare you. We will say the word ensnare, just like you try to ensnare an animal. They put food in it. They put treats in it. They put things to entice you into the circle to ensnare you. Things like, well, if you don't like what we have to say, you must not be ready. Or my favorite, your energy is not at our level. We've done all the work and you haven't. So you're not good enough until you reach our level. Isn't that what religion has done for millennia?
Yes, it has certainly has.
The spiritual community is a religion. There are those that walk the path. There are those that are like the Essenes that live the actual word. And there are those that want clicks, those that make money when you watch their video, those that just want to entice you to follow them like little lemmings off the cliff. When do you notice? When do you have discernment? When your body says so. When you are irritated, when you start to question, when you feel aggravated, when you feel nauseous, when your eyes want to turn away. When have you lost that?
And now, with so much happening, so many things that are not organic per se being put out there in many ways, a lot of information is being hijacked, made to create fear. If we just look at our mainstream media, the way that is set up, but even within spiritual information. The other thing too is the attachments to the energy field, to the human form. That's also creating interference in a person's discernment. It's designed to get in there and scramble that too. It can happen in any instance. What is the best way to keep yourself free of this type of interference from the things that are being shed out there, the things that are attaching?
It's been easy for it to happen because you've been put in a position where you're unable to physically connect with those that you could have immediate discernment. We'll give you the example. When you go to a party, or if you're out and about and you meet new people, you have a physical reaction to their energy. Why? Because you're now in each other's energy field. There's nothing in between. There's no middleman. Does that make sense?
It definitely does.
So that's allowed you, when you physically interacted with one another, to be able to read the person. Is this person for my highest and best good? Am I to learn something from this person? Am I to give them something in return? Are our energies compatible? What's this connection about?
Mhm.
That's human existence.
Yes.
Now, you're staring at someone through a screen or reading their words
Yes.
through an EMF box that is affecting your brain. It's affecting your energy. It's bringing it down, making you more susceptible to brainwashing, to interference, to the loss of the ability to critically think. It's all for a reason. So when your only engagement or feeling of community is through a screen and a keyboard, you've lost the ability to discern someone's true energy field because you're not in it.
But hasn't that been the design, the shutdowns, and now all the things that are happening to keep people even more apart with the mandates and everything? This is
Yes, that is the basis of the ability to get human beings who have the free will given to them by God to give up their free will. Do you think the masters that are orchestrating all of this are not masters? They're masters. They understand they're given guidance by otherworldly beings that don't have your best interest. They are being whispered to and impacted to be able to use what's been
Mhm.
put in place for nefarious reasons. The internet was a beautiful thing in its inception, to where it connected people, it connected information and knowledge in ways that has never happened in history before. It is a beautiful, miraculous thing that has been taken, just like every other technology, and bastardized and used against you.
It's hard because with all these restrictions that are in place, sometimes that's our only way of connecting.
Use your discernment.
Yes, thank you.
If that is your only way to connect, then use your discernment. Trust yourself. You know,
I
but
do.
you've been convinced as human beings that what you feel isn't real. What we tell you is real. No, it's not. And you're waking up to that. I know that it is so hard when you can't see evidence and measure of the awakening on your planet, but we assure you, it is happening. We see the lions being born within the hearts and sacral chakras and solar plexus, and we see the energy pouring out as people fight against what is wrong. We see mothers and fathers fighting in schools against these horrific, awful things they're trying to do to these children. And we see people standing up arm in arm in the streets, taking to the streets to say no more. And we see people gathering and finding that community again and that connection again, and building their energies together again, creating a battery of emotional energy that is bathing this planet, where they say, no, you can't see it, but it's there.
I think that those of us who are in tune, like you said, are aware of that happening. We've been told there's going to be a great deal more chaos to kind of be ready for that. What can you share with us from your perspective about what's coming down the road and how we best be prepared?
As we said before, all of you who predicted every step of this period of time when it began, you saw very clearly what was coming. It was as if it was written down in front of you, and it was.
It was exactly.
So we would say to you, what do you see?
Yeah, I know what we see. And
What do you
so,
see?
for me personally, what I've been perceiving from my standpoint, I am seeing chaos, not out of fear, but out of common sense. I have stocked up on supplies. I see, and my team has told me that there will be a need to maybe stay home and out of the chaos in the streets that are going to be coming from fear induced, the propaganda, the shortages, all of these things. The people are going to be in tremendous fear. Those are who are asleep to the facts. Is this what you see also?
Yes, that is exactly what you've all seen. If you
Mhm.
trusted yourself 18 months ago to see the reality of the situation, then what you've seen is what is coming. Now, we'd say that to not induce fear, but because when you see something coming, you can avoid it. That is the benefit of insight and foresight. It is a gift. And it's a gift that you've attempted to give to humanity and they've rejected. And then they deny you ever told them.
Yes.
Well, guess what? That will continue. So the pressure that all of you have felt to awaken the masses to what is coming, you may have woken up a few that you have evidence of, but we tell you this: continue to speak the truth, continue to tell people, this is what I saw before, this is what has happened, this is what I see now. So based on that alone, it's a possibility that this may happen. Choose how you will respond.
Yes.
So we would say yes, there is already common sense evidence that they're setting it up to where there will be a distribution of goods issue, whether it be manufactured or just caused by what's occurred over the last 2 years. And we all know the answer to that, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So that would tell you, don't run low on things. If it's important for you to have something, we suggest you do the math, figure out how much of it you use over a period of time, and ensure that you have it for yourself and your loved ones.
And that is, in my opinion, common sense and not fear.
Right. We don't want you to go buy a U-Haul and buy up all the toilet paper, because that is karma and you will pay the karmic price for that.
But we also see more things ahead, or it's hard to use the word ahead. I'm trying to stay out of that linear perspective. But
Well, we are in a linear timeline. You're
we-
speaking and living in that timeline, so that is acceptable.
thank you. So from the linear standpoint, what so many of us who are aware and have been aware of the things that have transpired already, what we're seeing is that we're very, very close to a very big tipping point, and we're seeing some pretty clear cut events happening to catapult us into that fifth dimensional consciousness. So are you advising us to focus on those things we're seeing because they have, in the as we've come along down the line, our information has been correct?
We'll address the word focus. Just as was mentioned before regarding all the potential timelines and life experiences you may have, your focus is on this one, although you have a multitude of multidimensional lifetimes existing at the same moment, but your focus is of Bella. Your focus is of Laura. So we will remind you of that when we discuss this. When you ask, should we focus on what we see coming? No. We would say to you, focus on it when it comes in, react appropriately, and make preparations as your intuition would guide you. Once that is complete, remove your focus and focus on the things that are more in line with your evolution, your purpose, your um, engagement and interaction with others that help them to maintain a level of composure and lack of fear, peace, and calm. We would say that to focus on negativity breeds negativity. So we would never suggest that you focus 100% of your attention on that.
I think what I meant was focusing on the beautiful things to come.
Yes, yes, we certainly wish for you to do that. We would also caution you to not stop living in the moment and have the experiences that the moment provides, and seek out the joy that you can in these moments, because we feel that you all live in this anticipation and holding your breath, waiting for this fifth dimensional ascension to occur, while you're missing out on the life that is living now. So we would say, yes, focus your attention gently on holding the space for that 5D ascension heaven that you so wish to build here. But don't stop living now. Don't stop having the experiences of joy and pain and hunger and satisfaction and love and anger. Those are what you're here to experience. And that's the lesson that Laura has had through this illness. She was faced with the loss of it all. And she made the decision not only to live through it, but become better for it and appreciate and experience all that is the physical life being lived by your soul. Instead of wishing it away, wishing things could be different, embracing it, feeling it for what it is. That is what we wish to express to you most. Yes, gently envision, but don't give up your life now, because this is all that is real, is now.
Thank you. What else can you tell us about the current shift in consciousness that everyone needs to know?
We would say to you to be patient. We would say to you that a lot of this is occurring without any action required on your part. It's the nature of the cycles. So a percentage, if you will, a portion of this evolution does not require effort on your part. So that takes a little pressure off.
Yes.
We would say to you that the most important thing for right now, and this information will change tomorrow, but what's most important right now that we wish to share with you is the need to practice discernment, the need to listen to your body, not only to ward off illness, but to discern what information is real or not for you. That's not to say that the same information could be real for someone else. It doesn't make it wrong. It's just wrong for you. We would say to you that what's most beneficial to you right now, and it's especially appropriate that it's around the holidays when most people would have reason to join together, also that childlike joy associated to the holidays for most people. We
Mhm.
wouldn't say all, because there are traumas in people's lives from their childhood that maybe don't provide them that joy that others feel when the holidays come around. We understand that. But we would say that this time of year is a time when you can find that childlike joy, even if you've never felt it before. So what would benefit the collective the most is to step out of the fear paradigm, step back into the joy, the anticipation, the childlike wonder of the holiday season, starting with Halloween, because regardless of how you feel, Laura does not like Halloween. She doesn't like things that are dark or scary. But there is the joy of the children getting to dress up, and there is the joy of people welcoming them to their door and giving them a treat just for being. Let's look at that for a minute. Those children have just to be, and they're given a gift. Isn't that a wonderful metaphor for what it is to be a human on Earth at this time? They don't have to take a test. They don't have to perform a task. They just are cute, show up and say trick or treat, thank you, and they get something for it.
That's true. That is a really beautiful comparison.
Isn't it? So
Yes.
let's walk in that feeling of being. And we would say to you, start that walk. And Laura's feeling such joy at the anticipation of that. She's feeling what that feels like for the collective. Get back out there and rediscover the joy that is being a human being, and interact with one another from that place, and have fun and hold hands and dance and twirl and be like the children,
I
and
love
your
that.
earth will heal.
I'm prompted to start my holiday decorating early for that very reason. I just want to fill the house with joy and get away from so much of the negativity that's so prevalent right now.
That is a fantastic idea, and we encourage all of you to do so.
Thank you very much. If I may switch the topic for a moment while we have you here with us, could you share more about yourself, your experiences, your history? You're someone we would love to know more about. Your connection to Egypt is of a lot of interest to people.
I am from the Lyran constellation. That is my origin. We came to Egypt in our physical forms, not embodied in the people of their time. We physically came as in our bodies as the lions and lionesses that we were. We had cat-like features. So as we were depicted is how we looked. There were those that were scared by our presence, and there were those that read our energy and knew our intentions. It is not much different now on your planet, where those that have the discernment can identify who has their best interest and who doesn't. Anytime a teacher species has come to your planet in their physical natural form, there have been those that are fearful, and there are those that are able to discern. And that was true then. We came to teach. We came to bring vast knowledge to that region as it was growing in power. We saw the intellect in the individuals and knew they would be open to what we brought forth to them related to geometry, the sacred geometry that forms the universe. We provided them information on their soul's origin and the cycle of reincarnation. And we helped guide them. And they became the most powerful civilization at that time, which helped to grow and develop the civilizations that followed. Christ was educated in Egypt and learned much about his soul through their teaching. So you would say that we helped educate and evolve your beloved Jesus. Our energy is still present there. Those that have discernment can feel it. My feminine energy is still present. I was a very assertive and strong female. And because of my appearance, I garnered respect. I was fierce, but compassionate. I stood my ground when I needed to. I never rolled over and exposed my belly. And that energy is coursing through you today.
Yes, thank you for that energy. What is your connection to the Sphinx?
Well, obviously it represents our physical form. They benefited so greatly from our education and our energies that they grew to worship us, which was not what we intended nor desired. But it is a physical representation of our physical nature.
And what is the purpose of the Sphinx? Is it indeed, like we've heard, a type of library with information below?
Her energy is shifting to a very fine frequency. The power is moving out and it's becoming very fine. Hang on a minute. Part of what they brought here was technology. The technology to levitate the stones, not only for the Sphinx, but for the pyramids, was sound frequency. Crystals were part of that sound frequency as they hold not only energy, but memories. And as the Sphinx is much older than the pyramids were built in that vicinity due to the location of the Sphinx. The Sphinx is a power generator. It has and contains I'm trying to understand what I'm being shown.
That's fine. Take your time.
There are portals all over the planet, places where there are energy conductors, things connected into the core of Gaia that maintain the magnetics of the planet. There are also those that have been placed in a nefarious way to try to alter the magnetics of the planet. The Sphinx contains off-world benevolent with the hope of spiritual human evolution, power sources underneath. It also contains a vast library of not only crystal library information, but physical information, books, papyrus rolls, hieroglyphic tablets. I sense they were taken there and hidden. I'm not sure of the historical timelines, what came first, but I know I was present at the burning of the Library of Alexandria. I know that's why I am an avid book collector and feel the need to protect them. I sense that there was an attempt to remove certain things or hide certain things in the Sphinx because it was not accessible, it couldn't be reached, it couldn't be burned. So to answer your question, I'm seeing that it is a repository, but also a power source.
Thank you. To whom am I speaking right now? Am I still speaking to Sekhmet, or has someone else joined us?
We are the physical. The physical aspect that Sekhmet came through with to provide you the lioness energy, which was physical on your planet. She experienced a physical life, albeit in her physical form as a Lyran, has stepped out, and what you're speaking to now is the more light-bodied, finer essence of her Lyran consciousness.
Thank you. I sense the change in energy, and it is lovely to have you with us. What else can you share about those times in Egypt when you were there?
Humanity had fallen. We saw this, we knew this. The disconnection from source, the loss of compassion towards one another was heartbreaking to us as we watched. We also knew that at that time we were asked and given the mission to come and be teachers, to guide humanity to that next rung on the ladder of evolution. We also knew that the information and technology that we provided would help assist that particular civilization in preparation for the coming of Christ. We knew the timeline that was set. Now, this may contradict what was said to you before about your human timelines, where there are always potentials. Yes, there are always potentials, but there are those important life altering, and we say life as your planet, not just an individual, life altering occurrences that are set. They can be variables on a timeline, but then nonetheless they will occur. Our coming to your planet, to Egypt, and we also came to other civilizations, which is why there are pyramids all over your planet. And the pyramids are representatives of the sacred geometry that forms your physical dimension, that hold and house the energies that maintain the frequencies on your planet. That was predestined. So you would ask, well, if we and God and source energy saw the evolution of man, where are you going? You know where you're going. It may feel to you in your current times that you have de-evolved, that you're going backwards, that people have lost compassion for one another. And if you watch the news, you would certainly see evidence of that. But we would say to you, at this moment in time, there has been no greater compassion on your planet. At this time in your existence, there has been no higher frequency on your planet. If you were to look at the historical evolution of man from its inception to now, you would be in tears with anticipation and gratitude for the evolution that has occurred.
Thank you. That's beautiful information. What is your connection to Laura?
Laura acts as an ambassador for us in her physical existence. We are honored and appreciate the ability to connect. Her seeking calls us forth. Her desire to have expanded awareness calls us forth. Her desire to open her energy field and have it meet as closely as it can to ours, to allow connection and information to flow, is our connection. We are all present for all of you. The door just needs to be opened.
I would like to know if you would assist me, as we did have a little interference in our session, if you could scan Laura's energy field and physical body and let us know if there are any cracks, any openings, if there's any way the interference can come into her, anything we need to address right now.
Her energy is so expanded with the arrival of Sekhmet that frequency of that high caliber has burned out any and all lingering ill effects.
That's good. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. I was concerned about that. As this aspect of Sekhmet that's talking to us, I have one more question before we bring Laura back, as I can sense her energy getting a little tired. What is the connection between ancient Egypt and Atlantis?
The Atlanteans that fled the flooding made their way to Egypt. They brought with them their technology. They brought with them their intellect, which is why we felt that we could work with them, because our technology was very similar to that was developed in Atlantis. So we would say that Egypt would be a ancestor civilization to Atlantis.
Yes, thank you. Very good. So the survivors of the floods and the fall of Atlantis did come to Egypt to settle?
A portion of them did.
Did they bring the crystals with them?
Those that were able to be removed and those that had access brought them there, among other places. They're not just in one location. But that is part of what is beneath the Sphinx and within several of the larger pyramids.
Is there anything else you would like to share with us about these times in ancient Egypt that you feel would be of benefit to us to hear at this time?
Egypt had its problems, as do all civilizations that are in a birthing, there is always going to be those that desire power and control over others. It's the animalistic nature of the human brain. It's the fear of lack from lifetimes of starvation. It's in your genetic memory, and that's what fuels the greed on your planet today, is that remembrance of lack. And we would say to you that in reference to what you see coming with the supposed shortages of goods and the induction of fear regarding that on top of every other fear that's been placed at your feet, that people are reacting from that genetic memory of having to survive in the most harsh of environments, not knowing if they would make it through the day, the fear of isolation and excommunication from their communities. What you're seeing in your civilization right now that's causing all of this dysfunction is that cellular memory that needs to be healed. Because really, if you look at that basic fear of survival, people are willing to do whatever they need to do in order to keep their job, see their family, travel to places. It's the same exact fear. If I don't submit to what the tribal leaders want of me, I can no longer be part of the tribe. So you have to recognize, and it would benefit you to recognize, that that cellular memory is deep, deep in your DNA. It's deep in your atoms. And have compassion for those that feel that way, because it's something that is coming to the surface to be healed. This lack that's coming is further causing that to come to the surface and be healed. We need to tell you and remind you, because you already know this, that your life is all about duality on your planet. There are many nefarious things behind the current circumstances on your planet, but those nefarious things are causing a transmutation and an evolution in your consciousness that would not occur otherwise.
Well, these people, these, as you call them, the tribal leaders with the nefarious purposes, do you see a removal of these people anytime soon? Do you see them leaving our experience?
There will always need to be, until you've reached that place of no more war, no more lack. And that will take a while. But there will always need to be the duality of the dark and the light in order for you to evolve. That's part of the human experience. And it's like those are the rules of the game. It's no longer the same game if you change the rules. You need to have the darkness to seek the light.
But
So there will be those that, and again, this may seem crass to say, most of the people on your planet that are causing the most harm are elderly men. They can't live forever.
well, there's a dark agenda. It's an entire network. And we know
Right.
that in the fifth dimensional consciousness, there is no duality. The
Right.
dark cannot exist. So is that something that we can look forward to any time in the near future?
Again, we cannot tell you a specific amount of time. We will gently remind you that empires don't fall in a day, nor do they rise. This is a lot of dark agenda manipulation that really, if you were to look back throughout your known history, goes on for tens of thousands of years, that is crashing down at your feet as we speak. What's happening now is because of known astrological cycles that take place The Mayan calendar is the only best example you have, where they predicted 26,000 years of cycles that came to an end in 2012. Those people that are part of that elite occult, necromancy, dark agenda, they study these things. They're fully aware of the astrological cycles. They're fully aware of all the historical prophecy. They're fully aware of it. And they're also aware of how to manipulate the human psyche. What's happening now is that because they know that their time is coming to an end, they're working really hard to do as much damage as possible because they cannot stop the natural progression of the cycle. And the timeline, the potential timelines that can take shape and we can find ourselves on as a mass consciousness is really truly determined on what percentage of the population rises up and says no. They know this is occurring. This is why they keep tightening the bolts. There will come a time in the very near future where they will have to back down. It's occurring now. When you see that airlines who the day before said, you will do this or be fired, and the people that the company can't run without say no and don't show up, and they lose revenue, all of a sudden they've backpedaled and changed their stance. And then the dominoes start to fall. Another airline says, oh no, we're not going to do that. It takes people standing up, and it doesn't take many. And then they will be forced back into their caves. They'll be forced back with their tail between their legs to regroup. But the thing is, the most important thing for you to realize is there's no time for regrouping. This is their end game. This is the only chance they have. And all we have to do is stand up and say no for a little bit longer. That's what you're sensing.
We are definitely sensing that. Do you have any final message to give to Laura before we bring her back today?
As you know, your time is not up. How much longer you live is up to you. We welcome you home, whether it be today or 100 years from now. A parade will be waiting for you, as it will for all of you. Take the time that's left, whether it be a day, a month, a year, or 30 years, and find joy in every day. Don't worry about things you can't control. There's nothing that kills the physical body faster than worry about things you can't control. And that is true for all of you. We love you deeply.
And we love you too, and we appreciate your visit today.